CEOs, how much does the life that you want actually cost? A lot of times we're either over the number or we're under the number because we haven't done the research. And I understand being scared to do the research. The last office that I had, I got the office in 2014. If you guys remember, that office was called Behind the Grind. That is the space where I basically, renovated the space and women could rent it out to have their events. And I used to pass by that building and another building beside it for years. And I never would actually just call in and see how much was the rent? How much is the rent at this location? I wouldn't call because I had already given myself a no. I had already told myself, no, I can't afford it. It's not, something that I can have. I had already declined. I hadn't prayed for it. I hadn't asked for it. I hadn't checked on it. I hadn't researched nothing. I had already given myself a no. How many times do we do that? Fast forward some years later, after scrapbooking and, basically putting together what I actually wanted in life and visualizing it and writing it out, whether it was in front of me or not. I gave a speech about that. Maybe I'll drop the link below. But I called, I called and I got information on the space next door. And it was in my budget. It was something that I could do. It was something that I could rent. I rented that space. I had that space 2.5 years. Many of you had events in my space. I had some celebrities that had events in my space. I used to let some of my clients have events in my space. And I'm glad that I finally, didn't give myself a no, and I went on and found out information about the space, had it 2.5 years, and, really helped some businesses at that time. But I give you that example because I passed by that space for years. I'm talking about, I passed by that space almost, 10 years? 10 years of giving myself a no. 10 years of telling myself, well, it's in an expensive neighborhood. There's no way that I can afford that office. That was my third office. So I had 2 other offices before then where potentially I could have been in that nicer location. I tell you this because I want you to get familiar with the numbers. I want you to get familiar with the life that you want. And I don't want you to be intimidated and feel like it isn't for you or you can't have it. A lot of us, unfortunately, we had no control over it. We were raised with a scarcity mindset. I am the president of being raised with a scarcity mindset. It takes active work to not have a scarcity mindset. Like, I'm probably about 90% there. I still got 10% of working on not having a scarcity mindset or not catastrophizing every single damn thing that could potentially happen. So this is what I want you to do. I had a conversation with someone this weekend. That's why it's fresh. And so she was asking me about Emirates. And Brother Kevin and I flying on Emirates. It's our favorite airline if we are traveling outside of the country. If we can, no, I don't need anything. I'm good. If we can fly on Emirates, we want to fly on damn Emirates if it's possible. If possible, we want to fly on Emirates. It is the most comfortable. And then on top of we want to fly on Emirates, it is a particular set of seats that we want to be in the business class on Emirates. I have actually never flown in first class in Emirates. I've only flown in business class in Emirates. So she was thinking that the business class in Emirates to South Africa was maybe about $2,000 or $3,000. And I was like, Lord, blessings. Absolutely not. And so I was breaking down to her what the cost of getting 2 business class seats from Houston. She lives in Houston. From Houston to Johannesburg, South Africa would be without points or anything like that, just straight up flight. And she was shocked. And I said, now you've had this like in your mind as something that you wanted to do. Why had you never looked it up? Let's talk about it. I want you to get into the habit of not being scared of going into stores and feeling fabric and understanding what something costs that you want. I want you to get familiar with the places and the neighborhoods that you want to live and what that costs. I want you to get familiar with what it could be to have a fully fleshed out team. Not saying that you have all these people working at your office, or that you have an office, that's another thing, but that you have all these people working at your office 40 hours a week, because that, with AI and just the way that you can kind of write your SOPs and be organized, you probably don't need a full-time, 10 people working full-time. Probably not for most businesses. Somebody has lit up a cigar with my freshly washed hair. Anywho, I want you to get familiar with the freaking practice of how much does this cost? Let me look this up. Let me understand this, so that you know what you're aiming for. A lot of times y'all are doing business and you're working and you're striving and you're hustling and you're, grinding and all this, and you don't know what you're grinding for. Sometimes you way over the number. Sometimes, I remember the lady who created Afrotech, which I really admire. Her name is Morgan. She mentioned how the things that she wants didn't cost as much as she thought. And I think I saw that either last year or the year before, saw her say that on a video. Y'all, I realized that around 2019, 2020. 2019, 2020, I remember the epiphany that I had, that I thought that I needed this much money per year to feel like, X, or to feel like I would want to, I feel like I made it or whatnot. The number is much different than I thought. I was all right. I was feeling comfortable. It's interesting when you really start to quantify, what do you want? What does that cost? Today, I want you, after this video, to just make a list. Make a list of every single thing that you think you want. I don't care what it is. A team, an office. When I did this exercise, it was, what year was this? 2009, 2010? It was before I started Women CEO Project, by the way. But I remember describing what my house would look like. I remember saying that I would have several windows in my office, which I end up having. It's amazing when you speak it, what can happen. I remember saying Roland Mouret, which is my favorite dress designer. Roland Mouret and Alexander McQueen dresses would just be my normal. Flying business class would be my normal. It wouldn't be like, ooh, I'm in business class. It would be like, baby, this is what we do. At this point, Kevin say, if we ain't flying business, we must need to stay home. Obviously, we need to stay home and work harder. He said that, 4 or 5 years ago. And he is dead serious. Like, obviously, we need to stay out behind the home and work harder. But I wanted certain things in my life to be normal, not necessarily extra. Or, I got a treat or whatnot. No, the cream I use on my neck is normal. The serum that I use on my face every night is normal. It's not a treat. I want you to plan for that. A lot of times we talk about the life we want. We pray about the life we want. But we ain't never planned for the life we want. And it feels like we don't plan for it because we don't truly expect it. We don't truly expect it to happen, We don't, because we're not making any plans or any room for it. So today, I want you to write out all the things that you think you want. That list don't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be complete. It doesn't have to be perfect or complete, but I just want you to write it out. What are the things that you think you want? And then for each item on that list, I want you to do some research. I want you to get on Google. I want you to get on Pinterest. Do some research. What does that look like in terms of dollars? So now you at least know, when you're working and you're grinding and you're hustling and you're striving and you working 2 or 3 jobs and you got a corporate job and you got a business on the side, you know what you're working for. Does that make sense, ladies? Does that make sense, CEOs? I hope this helps. It's my opinion. It helped me a lot. And I forget, y'all. Bless my heart. I'm trying to, get back on YouTube. I'm Christy Muhammad, founder of Women's CEO Project. I would love for you to subscribe. I have a lot of thoughts and ruminations that I want to drop on you guys as a I'll make 22 years as an entrepreneur this month in February of 2025. But I have a lot of things I want to share with you. So I would love for you to stick around and subscribe. But I'll see you soon, okay? Bye.